Hi guys, happy to see you again and welcome to our Easy Calm English Go lesson. So, the thing that I'm going to tell you today about is very important, but it is pretty boring. So, I do promise you that this lesson will be incredibly boring, so be prepared. But no matter that this stuff is boring, it is very, very important because we are going to talk about passive voice, about the difference between active voice and passive voice. And why do I say that this topic is pretty important? Because many of you are having now or will have soon or somewhere in the future, you're going to pass your IELTS or another kind of exams. So, one of the tasks that you will have to perform is writing an essay. And your essay must be grammatically correct and interesting. So, when you will write down the things like he went there, he did that, he got that, then he did that, I would say that the essay looks rather boring. And not to do this mistake. And to show that you are experienced English learner, that you know a lot of rules, to show the high level of your English language, you have to change something. And I'm going to tell you in this lesson what exactly do you have to change to make your essay wonderful, to make your essay grammatically correct, and to make your essay interesting for listening and for reading. So guys, don't forget to put a thumb up, to subscribe to my video to have more lessons. So, as I have told, we are going to talk today about passive and active voice. And about the secret, how to make your essay interesting, grammatically correct, and how to get the highest mark in your exams. So guys, what I want to advise you is to be very attentive since right now. You can make a cup of coffee or a cup of tea, sit down and listen attentively to what I'm going to talk. And again, this is going to be pretty boring, but you have to be very, very attentive. So let us start talking about voices. So you know that there are two voices in English language. They are active voice and passive voice. When you're writing an essay like this, he went there, he did that, he got that, you are writing the sentences in the active voice. And if you want your sentences and your essay to look more professional, you have to use a lot of passive voice. For example, he went there and did that. We can change into passive voice. And I will tell you how to do this in this exactly video. So don't hurry up. Be very persistent and be very attentive. This is what I'm asking you really about because this topic is difficult and very important for each of us and for you, of course. So guys, before talking about active and passive voices, what do we have to do? I think that we have to start talking about a subject and an object of a sentence. Why do we need to do this? Simply because we are going to talk a lot about a subject of a sentence, about a subject of an action, and about an object of a sentence, and about an object of an action. So guys, let us start from the very beginning. A person or a thing that is performing an action is called a subject of an action. And a person or a thing acted upon is called an object of a sentence. For example, let us take a sentence. The girls are planting flowers. The girls. Who? This is the subject of a sentence because they are doing some action. They are planting. The girls planting the flowers. And flowers, this is an object of an action because the girls, the subject, was doing a kind of an action. In this case, it is planting upon flowers. So guys, I think that you got it, what a subject and what an object is. That is very important to know. So And now you already know that there are two voices, active voice and passive voice. So let us look more precisely what an active voice is and what a passive voice is. An active voice is used when the person or the thing denoted by the subject of the sentence is at the same time an object of the sentence expressed by the predicate. And what a passive voice is? A passive voice is used when the person or a thing denoted by the subject of a sentence is an object of an action expressed by the predicate. To cut a long story short, what is the difference between an active and a passive voice? An active voice, it is when a person or a thing is doing something, is doing some action. And a passive voice, it is when a person or something is acted upon. Someone is doing something upon this thing. This thing is an object here. And now we have to know how the passive voice is formed. So the tenses of passive voice are formed by means of auxiliary verb to be in the corresponding tense and the past participle to of the main verb. So let us look at some of the examples more precisely to find out the difference and to see how to form the passive voice of each of the tenses. So I will tell you again that there are three main tenses in English language. It is present, past, and future. This is very important. And each of these tenses is divided into indefinite or simple, continuous, perfect, and perfect continuous. Each of them is divided into 4. And this is very important. And now we have to look at each of these tenses and to see how the passive voice is formed in each of them. Let us start from the indefinite tenses. The first one is present indefinite tense. How to form the present indefinite passive? It is formed with the help of adding an auxiliary verb to be in the present indefinite tense plus the past participle to of the main verb. For example, I am examined. I am examined. Am, this is the form of the auxiliary verb to be in the present indefinite tense. Examined, this is past participle to. This is past form of the verb to examine. This is it. How to form the past indefinite tense? That's easy. Take the verb to be, put it into the past indefinite tense plus past participle to of the main verb. For example, I was examined. I was examined. This is past indefinite passive. Was, this is an auxiliary verb to be in its past form, and examined, this is past participle to. This is what you have to remember. And again, how to form future indefinite tense. Take the verb to be, put it into the future indefinite tense, and add past participle to of the main verb. For example, I will be examined. Again, I will be examined. Will be, this is the verb to be in the future indefinite tense. Examined, this is past participle to. This is what you have to know. And now the next point is how to form continuous tenses. Easy. To form continuous passive voices, what do you have to do? To take an auxiliary verb to be, to put it into continuous form of a definite tense, plus to add past participle to of the main verb. This is it. For example, how to form present continuous passive. Take to be, put it into the present continuous, add past participle to of the main verb, and here we go, the sentence. I am being examined. Again, I am being examined. Am being, this is present continuous form of the verb to be. Examined, this is what? Exactly. This is past participle 2 of the main verb to examine. You have to know this. And how to form past continuous passive. Again, take an auxiliary verb to be. Put it into the past continuous tense. Add past participle 2 of the main verb. And here you will have the past continuous passive. For example, I was being examined. I was being examined. Was being, this is the form of the verb to be in the past continuous tense. And examined again, this is past participle 2 of the main verb to examine. Okay, guys. And there is one thing that you have to remember, that you have to know, that you have to notice and never forget it, is that there is no such tense as future continuous passive. You cannot make a passive form of the future continuous. You have to know this, you have to remember this, and you have to learn this. There is no way out, just learning. There is no future continuous passive. No, never. And here again, guys, the third tip, the third tip, so to say, is how to form a passive voice of the perfect tenses. Again, take an auxiliary verb to be, put it into the perfect form of a particular tense, add, what is this? Oh, here it is. Add past participle 2 of the main verb, and you will have perfect passive voice. How to do it? How to make present perfect passive. Take the verb to be, put it into the present perfect tense, and add past participle 2 of the main verb. For example, I have been examined. I have been examined. Have been, this is perfect tense. Have been, this is a present perfect tense. This is the verb to be in the form of a present perfect. And again, examined, this is past participle 2 of the verb examine. Again, how to make past perfect passive. Take the verb to be, put it into the past perfect tense, add the past participle 2 of the main verb, and here we are. Past perfect passive. For example, I had been examined. I had been examined. Had been, this is past perfect tense. This is the verb to be into the past perfect tense. And examine, again, this is past participle 2 of the main verb to examine. How to make future perfect passive. Again, take the verb to be, put it into the future perfect tense, add the past participle 2 of the main verb, and you will have future perfect passive. For example, I shall have been examined. Again, it's difficult. I shall have been examined. Shall have been, this is an auxiliary verb to be in the future perfect tense. And examine again, this is past participle 2 of the main verb to examine. So guys, what do you have to know till that moment? That future continuous, and perfect continuous tenses are not used in passive voice. There is no future continuous passive, and there is no perfect continuous passive. Never. They are never used in passive voice. Just remember this, okay, guys? I know that it is difficult to study passive voice, but it is very useful and it is very important. And try to believe me if you will pay a lot of attention, if you will watch this video a lot of times, and if you will write down. Oh, again, guys, try to write down, to make some notes for you, to make some visualization of this lesson in your mind. And if you will do your best, so you will be able soon to understand and to use passive voice in your speech and in your essays. So be very attentive. Try to pay a lot of your attention to the passive voice, because it is really very, very important for your essays and for passing your IELTS exams or another kind of exam that you are passing right now somewhere where you're studying. And again, guys, there is one thing that I would like to tell you. Why do we have to use this passive voice? We use passive voice when we want to draw our attention to the object of a sentence, and when we do not want to mention the subject of a sentence, or when the subject of the sentence is not important. And in this case, the subject of the sentence is not mentioned at all. Otherwise, it is expressed by a noun or a pronoun with the preposition by or with. For example, they were invited by my friend. They were invited by my friend. We draw our attention to the object, to they, and then at the end we say that they were invited by. We use preposition by for noun, my friend. That's it, guys. When we want to ask questions using passive voice, how to do it? We have to take an auxiliary verb and to put it before a noun. For example, when was the book published? When was the book published? When was the book published? In this case, was, this is an auxiliary verb, and we put it before a noun. When was the book? Was is before a main noun. Was is before a book. So this is how we have to make a question. And how do we have to make questions when we have a complicated form of a verb? We just need to take the first auxiliary verb and to put it at the beginning. For example, has the house been built? Has the house been built? We take the first auxiliary or helping verb has, put it at the beginning before a noun, and we have has the house been built. Remember this. If we want to make a negative statement in a passive voice, how to do this? All particle not always helps us in this case. We need to take this particle not and put it after the first auxiliary verb. He was not sent there. He was not sent there. He was not sent there. We take particle not, put it after the first helping verb. In this case, it is was, the past form of the verb to be. And when we have a complicated form of an auxiliary verb, we have to put that not after the first auxiliary or helping verb. For example, the bridge has not yet been built. Again, the bridge has not yet been built. You see it, where not. It is after the first helping verb. That's it, guys. So guys, this was a passive voice. I do believe that after watching this video several times and making some notes, you will become more experienced in using passive voice. And I would like to advise you, if you want to really pass your exams, if you want to have a good mark for your essay, if you want to look more professional, so try to look try to use passive voice while writing. Okay, guys? You promise me to use passive voice. And if you have some questions, or maybe you have some interesting stories, write them down in comments below using passive voice. Don't forget to use passive voice. So guys, was happy to see you. Bye for now. Don't forget about passive. See you later.